come on, look at those. Hey, not bad for an old boy. Hi everyone, welcome to Backyard Chef. I'm Rick. Today we're doing one of the most requested recipes I've had in months. We're making Bakewell Tarts. Okay, I think it all came around from making the raspberry jam, when there'll be a link up here if you want to make your own raspberry jam. That's up to you. But we have to make some shortcrust pastry, but it's a sweet shortcrust pastry, so let's show you how to do it. Okay, in here I've got my flour. What we're going to do is add a good tablespoon of sugar, maybe it's a little bit more actually, and a pinch of salt. Give that a mix in. Now this is the recipe for shortcrust pastry is exactly the same as the normal rich shortcrust pastry, but to make it sweet we add the sugar. Now you can add powdered sugar or granulated like I have. And then what we need to do is add our fats. Now I've got baker's shortening and butter. Now you can use all butter, not a problem. Anything you've got, even margarine. Even though there's people moan about the margarine, you know, if that's all you can get, use it. So we're going in there with our fats, and then all we're going to do is mix our fats in with our flour. Nice and easy, just bring it together. A little rub between the finger and thumbs, lift and rub. Light hands, just bring it together. Lift up, light. Don't squash it up, just lift, which aerates, and rub gently. Old-fashioned cooking that everybody's forgetting about. Now if you do have a food processor and you don't want to do this, stick it in a food processor. Whiz it all up, done in seconds. But you know, this only takes 5 minutes. Okay, there's our mix there. That didn't take long, did it? Not even 5 minutes. In here, I've got some water, a little bit of apple cider vinegar, and we're going to crack in an egg. Get your egg in there. Nice little beating through there with a fork, nothing complicated. Let's not make it hard. In our bowl, turn your fork over, give it a little rub round there. In we go, get your hands in, bring it all together, nice and easy. As you can see, this is a 100% fail-safe pastry. It works every time. It's the right amount of fluid, the right amount of flour. You can't go wrong with this pastry. So there's our pastry made. Now, let's just split it into two. I always split it into two, but we're going to probably use most of this in today's recipe. And then we want to put it in some cling film and stick it in the fridge. Pastry on your cling film, light wrap over, and squash your pastry down. Now the only reason for doing this, you know, you could just roll it up and chuck it in a bowl if you want, but you know, the simple way of doing it like this, it's just easier when we take the pastry out and we want to start to roll. it's already quite flat. So that's one. So that's our 2 bits of pastry. Stick it in the fridge. In the fridge, 30 minutes. Okay, to make the frangipane filling, we have some butter in there, and we're going in with some sugar. And we are going to cream it all together. Okay, that'll do. I can see that the sugar's not completely gone in there, but we're still going to keep beating. You know, everybody says beat and beat and beat till it's light and creamy and fluffy. What we have to do is put our almond in there. Oops, that's our ground almond. And we're going to give that a beating in there before we add our egg. The almond not only adds flavour, it's the characteristic texture that you find in frangipane. Okay, and we want to crack in there an egg. Now, the egg acts as the binding agent. So let's have that in there. And then we're going to go in there with a teaspoon of almond extract. So we'll just give that a little mix in. That's our mixing done. Now, that is slightly wet. It's not wet, but we need to add a little bit of flour which stabilizes our mixture. Now you can add up to 2 tablespoons to this. I'm going with 1, and we're just going to fold it in. Now, like I said, this acts as a stabilizer. It makes it just that little bit firmer, not too runny when we put in our casings. And we'll go with another one. All you do is just fold it through. Now, many people miss this out in the recipe, and they're struggling around with sort of like a wet frangipane mixture. So that is our frangipane made. How easy is that? I'm just going to transfer it to a smaller bowl. We don't need this big bowl. So I'm going to put it in a small bowl. Now what you can do, you can put this in the fridge, cover it over, a bit of cling film or a lid or whatever, cover it over, put it in the fridge whilst you prepare your pastry casings, because we are going to pre-bake our pastry casings. So there's our pastry. It hasn't been in the fridge for half an hour. I know that. We need to crack on and make this. Right, we want a little bit of flour on our board. And we're just going to roll out our pastry. And a little bit of flour on there. What we're looking at, I think, is something like that. So let's have a look at that, see what that does. So we've got a nice little bowl there. Now what we might do, covered in flour, look, what we might do is just come a little bit more actually, round there. And let's just see what we've got there. So there's our tin. Fold your pastry into your tin. That's okay, we would have had enough with just the tin. I did think so. So bring it round. Okay, so in the event of not wasting too much, let's have that off there. we'll roll that back in. So that little bowl is going to be good enough. Just bring it all the way in like that. Squash it all the way down into the bottom. That's a fine job. So we are just going to cut and roll. So we've just decided that this bowl is big enough. So there's one. With our pie, we have to prick the bottom. Prick the bottom all over. We're going to stick them back on our tray. We know they fit, we've just worked it out. We're going to stick on the oven, and we want about 180 degrees. We're going to go 170 degrees. So just preheat the oven, and then we're going to bob those in. Okay, we've got a couple of little squares there, just coming from the sides like that. Now you don't have to be so neat, it doesn't matter. And then that just pushes down inside there. Just push it down. It's as easy as that. Don't make a big deal out of it. Down it goes inside. Okay, I'm using ceramic baking beads. I'm just going to put a few of those in each tart case. Now you can use rice, you can use anything. Let's just get a few of those in there and just push your beads out towards the sides. Now that's going to stop the sides from coming in. Okay, they're going in that oven. And we are going to bake for 10 minutes. 170, 10 minutes, bake them. Then we're going to take them out, take the beads out, egg wash in the bottom, put them back in for another couple of minutes. Okay, and hot, that will do very nicely. Let's have those out of there. Out it comes. Right, what we need to do is get these beads out of here. Be careful, these beads are red hot. So we are doing the old-fashioned way of putting a little bit of egg wash around the bottom. Oh, it's quite stiff brush this actually. And up the sides, just a little bit. So what's going to happen is that this is going to seal the bottom when it goes back in the oven. And we're going to put a layer of jam in the bottom of there. So it's going to stop it from coming through the bottom of the pastry. The tart will not be soggy on the bottom. So let's get that back in the oven, 5 minutes. Let's have those out of there. Look at those. Right, in with the second lot. Set the time 10 minutes. Pre-bake those. We're going to go in there with some of our homemade raspberry jam. Now I'll put a link on the description if you want to make your own. If not, just buy some. And then we just want to smear that round the bottom. Got a nice layer of jam there, look. That has some real nice flavour in these. So there's our raspberry jam in there. Okay, now what we need to do is take a piping bag. And we need to put our frangipane in there. Now don't go bananas, but just cut a little bit off the end. Now if you had a nozzle, that's great. If you don't have one, you're doing it like this. Squeeze that round over the top of our raspberry jam. Could have done with cutting it a bit bigger actually, but not to worry. We need to seal it up a little bit, so nice and gently just tease it round over the top of that raspberry. We want to seal that raspberry underneath. Now I have no choice in doing it this way because I don't have a nozzle. If I had a nozzle big enough, if I could find one in a box here, I would have just squirted the frangipane all the way over the top. I mean, really I could probably get away with cutting a larger hole in the piping bag, but I wanted to make sure I have enough filling for all the tarts and not just squirt it all into one. This is going back in that oven. Now we've already cooked this at 170. We need to lower the heat on this. In we go, and we need to set this 160, 15 minutes. Let's give that a go, see what happens. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, these things are red hot, so be careful. As promised, take a knife, a serrated knife, any knife, and all you do is gently take off the top. Now it could break, don't worry about it. And then make sure you hold it so it'll fall out. Just a little. And that's it, we've neatened it off. Okay, we got that end hot there, let's have that out of there. In we go, and we need to set this 160, 15 minutes. So there we are, look. These four are definitely A1. This one, I think that's A. But they look superb. So they have to go completely cold. Now what we're going to do is let them go cold on that rack for about 5 minutes, or let them cool down for 5, and then we're going to put them on a rack to go cold. Let's have those out of there. Oh, broke off my top there, look. As you can see, they're perfectly cooked underneath. Take them out, let them cool down. So when these come out of the oven, we'll do exactly the same. We'll take them out, let them cool down, and then we'll be ready for icing. Okay, to mix up our icing sugar then, I've got icing sugar in this bowl. We're just going to add the water as we go along and mix it up. I'm not going to pour too much in. Nice and gently mix it in there. Now this is all by eye. Now we got a little bit of icing sugar in there, but what we want to do is take a little bit out. Take a little bit out into a bowl, and we're going to put some red dye in it. We want to make some red lines on our Bakewell Tarts. Now you don't need too much. That should do it. And then we're just going to bob a little bit of dye in there. Red food colour. We're going to give that a mix in so we get a nice red line on our... Oh, look at that. So what we need to do is put some icing in our cake. Now normally with icing it finds its own way. So nice and steady, just drop it in the middle and it will find its own way to the edge. Take a piping bag And we want that red icing in there. Get that red coloured icing in there. This stuff is lethal. Now what you have to do, cut at the minimum. Now I'm really not steady anymore with my hands. Very, very carefully squeeze out. It's a wobbly line. Same again. Same again. Now I'm only doing 3 lines. You can put as many on as you want. Start in the middle again, come down there. Now I'm not very careful anymore with my hands, I'm too old now. But they're going to be okay. It will be fine. And we need to straight through there. And then you need to come back the other way. You get that fantastic herringbone pattern on there. And then come on, we got to get on there with a cherry. Oh, come on, look at those. Hey, not bad for an old boy. Look at those. All we're going to do is cut into one. Oh, look in there. Oh, come on, let's get into it. I can't wait. I don't think it's set up, the icing, but oh, you'll get the idea. Oh, look in there. You've got that frangipane, you've got that raspberry, you've got that icing. That is absolutely amazing. Amazing. If you like what we're doing, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe, share with your friends. All that kind of stuff. Catch you in the next video.